It's May 19th, 2014. This is Doug Stout. I'm here with Albert Holman. Albert, what day were you born? What's your birthday?
January 13th, 1924.
Okay, and you were born here in Newark.
I'm down on 106 Ridge Avenue, North Carolina.
Okay. What made you decide to go into the service in the World War II?
I didn't know for sure. I went and turned around and went to CC camp. I told you about that, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then they, just like the Army, and then they went to the Army, but I only been 17 years old. I had to be 18.
Right.
So I came home, signed up for the draft and everything, then automatic. I always want to do someplace, so I said I'd go up and join the Army.
Okay.
I joined up with 2 other kids, but they didn't make it.
Oh, you're the only one that passed.
I'm the only one passed.
Okay. And you've told me you went to New York City schools for a while?
Yeah, I went to, I taught out when I went to 1st grade. I went Rocky Fork, Summit Hill School, 1-room school.
Okay.
Then I went from there to Madison. You know what part of Madison is?
Yeah. I
went to Madison School. Then I went from there to Lincoln. Then I went to Lincoln there when I played hooky, and I went to Lincoln, and when I was 15, I got my driving license and everything, and I got a job over at Heisey.
Okay.
When I was 15. And they didn't know I was only 15 to January of 40, and I already turned 18, so they turned 16. They couldn't do anything with me. That I already.
You were safe then.
I've been safe when I.
What did you do at Heisey?
I've been a woman. I've been a carrying in boy to begin with. Then they put me at a woman in boy. You pick them draft up on the end, take them in, put them over there. They put a foot on them. You seen them put on them grasses. Mm-hmm. Like hot, put it in the joy hole and get around there. And then you take it over to the guy and he put a foot on it. Then you pick it up and take it over to the guy that finished a little bit and put it on a fork and take it into the layer.
Okay. Not too many guys probably remember how to do that nowadays.
Yeah, and I hold them old too.
Right.
When I was out of the Army, they put me on the sucker job, and finally went to union. He had to put me on a high-paying job. Good. 51.5 cents an hour when I went over.
That was the high-paying job. So you went in to the service in November of 42?
Yep.
And now you drove a tank. Did you get to pick what you wanted to do once you were in the Army?
No, I signed up to be what I want to be.
Okay.
I went and turned around, passed over in Columbus. They send you to Fort Benton Health in Indiana. I've been there for 2-3 days. I forget to. And then they phone you in you're in the Army.
Yeah. But
before that, when we went up there, they said, I probably go to the Air Force. That's what I signed up for. And the guy ahead of me, they said, we filled up. So he took tank. So me, I like tank anyhow. And he said he was doing tactic. I said, yeah, I want tank. They sent me to Fort Knox.
Okay.
I ended up in Fort Knox in 42 in November.
So were you used to working on equipment and tractors or things?
No, I just worked on the automobile and got them running.
Okay.
Bought them for $10 or $15 and picked them up and drove them.
All right, so then they sent you to basic down there.
Yeah.
And what was that like?
It been pretty, begin with, it wasn't too bad. I had that training in the CC camp. I knew some of that.
Okay.
But what I hated when they got you up on midnight and took you out for a big heart and a night party.
Yeah.
You walked a lot. Then you went to them tractors, you seen them boot mine. I went to all them. Then we'd go out in the field, but sometimes they put you on TAP back in them days. I've been on TAP a lot. And then I didn't have that driving thing in, so we had to go out one day and drove tank. So I drove the tank, and I went out there and they had one driver doing for a while and another one. So I had driver. He put me down there, and I did all right. I took a round, and I get ready to get out of the tank. He said, you did hell in there. He said, you don't drive it back.
So you must have done a good job driving it. What was it like driving the tank for the first time?
It'd been all right, and I knew all that. The only thing dipping on me in the lever. But I drove 3/4 tank. But we had a tricycle down there. Motors had 5 motors in it. It on one,
Right.
and they wouldn't would have done. Then they had a tricycle down there. Not a tricycle, but a diesel. You couldn't do no place to wall it down the truck. It slipped all the time. So it wasn't no good.
Yeah.
Bet one was with the Ford.
Ford motor.
Yeah.
So you showed me a book that you kept that you wrote down everything that they taught you.
And that
that little notebook that in basic training.
took it all. They took it off the board. I always took everything I did. I still do that on television once in a while.
Well, it's a good idea. Keep track, and then you carried that all the way.
I
through.
carried that all the way through. You can see what kind of tape it is. Some of the pages I had a tape in there. Some of them I done locked too.
Right. So you were then assigned to who?
I would sign it down there, and then we'd turn around up the base there we went, and they sent it to Camp Cabin, Kentucky, to the 12th Army. Took it all day. Did it from Fort Knox to Camp Campbell. We went back and around.
Right.
And then got down there, and G Tempty there. It wasn't A714, but G Tempty. And they put me in the 2nd platoon with Sergeant Barnes. And we've been in there about 2 weeks or something. He put me in for 12th. So I made 12th. I didn't want to be a gunner. I want to be the one driving. So he kept me on driving. And then when we got out in the field one day, they reverted me. They took me from a 12th back to a T5. But I had the same money. So I went back to a T5.
Mary's here. She's got to take a couple of pictures while we're talking, okay?
Oh.
So.
Hi.
I got my hat off. You want my hat on or off?
However you want to be seen.
I don't know. What did she want them on there? And
I can do both.
Yeah.
they had one of my hat.
One of your hats. Perfect.
Okay, so then they took you to Tennessee and they assigned you to the
12th Armored Division.
Okay.
G Tempty then, but G Tempty then. And they put me in the 2nd platoon. But the 12th didn't have their training done yet. So we had to do training. So I went out and got in a tank, like you always had down until that 75 part. And I got down there and down the pot, and the lieutenant looked down there and he said, "Where you take your training?" I said, "Fort Knox, Kentucky." He said, "Get the hell out of here. You had your training." Well, I'm saying you would. I mean, I shouldn't say that.
Fine. You're fine. You're just saying what he told you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't need any more training.
I didn't need any more training. We went out in the field all the time, but I didn't have the training.
Yeah. Okay. Can you explain to people that don't know, when you're sitting down in a tank and you've got to drive it, are you looking through something to try to, so you can see where you are, or?
When it was buttoned up, you'd have a periscope. Up here, down here. And you look in here and you see out.
Okay.
It's just like a box, but like that.
Okay.
And when you put it in there, it show you looking in, and then up here it show you looking out. Like a periscope, you know what that's what it is.
Okay, so that's how when you were buttoned up you did, and when you weren't buttoned up.
When you wasn't buttoned up, you put your seat up and drive.
So you could come up out of the tank and see.
Head right.
Okay.
And at night, when you're fighting in the dark and you have to drive, you button up, you don't see anything. Tank commander the only one to tell you what to do.
And how's he seeing buttoned up?
He don't button up. He had to be out. Tank commander got to be out looking.
Okay.
He does get his head out a little bit. That's how a lot of them get shot. But then he get up there, and then when you drive him button up, then pretty soon get daylight, you can see it a little bit. But I had a good tank commander when I was going down the road. I showed you the picture with one. And we got up so far, and he said, "Pete, stop." Stop. And he said, "I tell you what to do. Soon I tell you, open this thing wide open." Got them in the crossroad. The German had it zeroed in.
Okay.
But we went so fast that they didn't get that zeroed in, but the tank behind it, he got a track mark.
They caught him.
But nobody made it down there all day. We were sitting down the field all day by ourselves. Nobody came in, nobody went out. And the tank commander, he the only one to see out, and we sitting in that thing all buttoned up. But he told what going on. But pretty soon they'd up the thing, and pretty soon all the outfit come down.
How hot is it inside a tank all buttoned up?
Hot when it's hot summer, but in the wintertime it's cold.
Okay, so you're not getting any engine heat or
You don't
anything.
you don't get it from the engine anyhow. You get it from the transmission.
Okay,
But when you ain't got this thing running, you don't get no heat.
right. So when did you? Where did you leave out of the States to head over to Europe, and when?
We left. I'm about to tell you, we left at Tennessee maneuver. We went to. They sent out to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, to get ready to the Pacific. But somehow we took all them tracked them. Somehow they turned around and went back to the 12th, took the 44th Armored Tank Battalion, sent them to the Pacific, blown it back to the 12th. That's why we just 714. You ever know all the vehicle and the division had 2 number?
Uh-huh.
We 3 number.
Right.
So, see, we don't even want to have 3 number for. So they blown it back to the 12th.
Did that matter to you? Would you rather gone to the Pacific? Would you guys rather have gone to Europe, or did it matter at the
It
time?
wouldn't make no difference till I volunteered down in Tama. They need volunteering. I volunteered to the Pacific.
Okay.
They wouldn't even do it. They said we need tank over here.
Knowing now after the war everything that happened in Europe and the Pacific, are you glad that you went to the Europe instead of the Pacific, or would you rather
It
go to the
wouldn't.
Pacific? You didn't care.
It wouldn't make no difference. When you're a young kid, you just want to.
Okay. So you left from South Carolina?
Well, South Carolina back to Abilene, Texas.
Okay.
Then from Abilene, Texas, we packed up. The date right on that when we went to Abilene to New York.
Okay. So then you went out of New York.
Yeah, New York.
Okay.
Camp Shank, I think Shank or something there. I think you know there's something.
Okay. And then you sailed from New York to Camp Shanks.
Yeah, Liverpool.
September 20th of 44, and landed at Liverpool, England, October 2nd.
Yep.
And you crossed the Channel, and then you landed in France.
In France.
Okay. Did you have any trouble getting across the Atlantic?
No, I didn't get seasick that time. But you got your tank down the Barton. All right, you got it down every 2 hours and take them big chain and check them, see if they ain't come loose. So they had a bunch of tank came loose and just made the heck out of the Jeep. So I had it down every 2 hours and check, tied the tank down.
Well, that was one thing you told me too that I never realized, that the tank driver, you weren't just the driver.
You had to grease it and all it up and put gas in it. You could get help on the gas and thing, but you got to grease it, you got to check the transmission, the water, you got to check all the wedges on the track, you got to check and see everything on the track, and you can't always see them because mud and everything on them, you can't see them. But I knew what I'm looking for.
You had to do all the maintenance and everything
Yeah, that
else.
did not the maintenance work, just get it ready and if find something wrong, then you tell the maintenance and make a
Okay.
report, and he fixed it.
Okay. So then you ended up in France, and you started across, and it looks like your first action, and I don't know if I'm going to pronounce these words right. Herolstein?
No, that wasn't the first one.
Okay.
We had some little one in before we docked down.
Okay.
We had a lot of them before that,
Okay.
but it's probably on that map we docked too.
What what was it like being in that tank the first time under?
On the fall,
Yeah.
it wasn't too bad, but every time you had to do it next time, it got a little bit. You got a little bit shaky.
Because you knew what was going to
You
happen.
know what, don't it? And me, I shouldn't say that, but my tank commander, when he want to move or do something, I moved before he told me to move. That I knew the time to. And he said, "Hell, Pete, I don't have to tell you anything. You're already doing it."
You sensed what he was already
I
going to
just
do.
already got on my mind what to do.
And that probably helped him out a lot.
It helped him out. He been a good tank commander and everything.
And what was his name again?
Dren Miller.
Okay.
You know Dren Miller, the band leader?
Yeah.
That same name his was.
Right. Did he get teased about that?
Yeah, and he been 10 years older than I was.
Okay. So you headed across Europe, and you ended up then at, how do you pronounce that? Herolstein?
Yeah, I can't pronounce it neither.
Okay, but we also call it the Second Battle of the Bulge.
Yeah,
right?
that's the one.
Okay, and a lot of people aren't familiar with that.
They don't know about that, do they?
Right.
And that woman you told me that his daughter.
Right. And it says here the Suicide Division
Yeah.
outfought 2 crack German divisions for 12 days, routing the enemy from Alsace-Lorraine.
Yep, that's it.
Why'd they call you the Suicide Division?
We wouldn't give up. We backed up and we went to back up and kept hitting them. See, we didn't give up. And I couldn't find the paper. I got a paper on that. Yet the German wrote a book on it about that. How we've been fighting.
And the German, it was actually a nickname from the Germans you
From
fought,
the German
called
the suicide.
Because you wouldn't give
We
up.
wouldn't give
You
up.
just kept after them.
And we went back one time. I don't know where you want to hear that.
Yes, I did.
We had houses up here, and we pulled down that little field, and we put a tank down there, side by side, so far apart. We put a gun up, certain shoot in that town. So we went down every 2 hours and shot all night long. I went down for 2 hours and used the gun, and we got done. Another guy took over, and we did that all night, kept shooting in that town. See, we didn't get guy, we just used the tank.
Right.
Then we went back down into the field and had to back up and come back out again. We did it. Oh, it was nerve-wracking.
Did they have artillery tanks there at that battle too, like
Well,
Panzers
they had the field artillery. They've been dug in that town.
Okay.
And we went in there and we got one tank battalion put a lot of them in. They got trapped.
Right.
We didn't. We moved up. But I tell you, that one there, another one. We did that about 4 times. We're down, went to the field, so far apart. We go up through there, shooting into that town. As soon as they get all the big ammunition coming into it, we had to back up. The field artillery knew where they was. So we backed up, get out of the way, and then we moved someplace down and do another plate. For a while fighting, then we'd go back down, then we kept moving.
So they couldn't zero in
They
on it.
couldn't do well. You never want to do sideways. You want to back up.
Right. Oh. Okay, so when you're backing up, you don't have any way to tell him what's behind you.
We don't
except
say
the
it.
tank
We
commander.
don't say the only tank commander. He tell you when you're backing out of a woods. He tell you if you don't hit them tree. He would tell you pulling right level, right or left level to backing up. Then you can back up around and.
Wow.
But down in there, you can get down in there because you can see where you.
And people think, that a tank can hit a tree and nothing's going to happen to the tank. I mean, that's probably not true. I mean, it's gonna do some damage to you.
My buddy from Illinois, he knew all that stuff. You ought to talk to him. He turned around, his tank went into it. He got it, foot blew off, and he got all the shot in him. He killed that one or two enemy yet. They never got it out.
Wow.
But he got blew up the first time. But I've seen some old tank. I don't want to get ahead of myself there, but one time we went and turned around, like a whole bunch of pine tree where they drill them out. They have road. They had 2 or 3 houses sitting up there, and the foot platoon went up there and they got hit. And when he went there, when the gunner went get out of the tank, they blew him in. He was hanging, everything hanging out. I had to go up there and we had 10 guard duty to everybody backed out of there.
Yeah.
And when you see something like that, it kind of.
Oh, sure.
But he the only one that killed. The rest of them been shot up a little bit, but he the only one that. I got all the names of the guys that what tank did that killed him.
So for 12 days you stayed there, and then they finally did they surrender? Or did they just withdraw, or a little bit of both?
We just tapped them and pulled them back.
Okay. And then did they go to that Komar?
Yeah, well, that one you seen the road where they put that jump. That's the one I told you I'm driving up the road with a blackout before dark, when it was dark out yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so they were hung up in there. And then so you had to route them out of there too.
We had around on that. Said that, but the last stronghold there. We had other division help,
Right.
But no, We done that. We went in there the night before, and I slept in a house, like apartment house, pulled my tank up beside the tank. We did. In the morning, they got it ready. Before daylight, we went up that bridge. I showed you that bridge. But that been dark when, but I wasn't buttoned up, see. But soon we got on the other side of that bridge, and then we had to button up.
Was your tank ever hit?
Yeah. And that Gwen Miller got shot through the head. Took a part out of him. And then my sergeant, I told you when did sergeant platoon, he burned up and tank down below me. And I can remember that. We had to do out in the morning. We shouldn't have been doing that. He took the lead, platoon sergeant. We've been behind him. So he did down there in that porthole out the side of the tank up there, the little porthole with it. But he did that, blew off going down the road. And he said, get off the road. We went behind the houses, and he went down here, but there was a big bank that we couldn't get down at all. And he said, don't come down here. And he turned around and got hit and blew his whole back off, say. So they couldn't get him out, so they turned around and turned that back to my tank. And Miller, he just shot to the head. He been laying on the floor. When they got on now, they said, return. So we turned around. We went front with them, but zigzag. They had a little first aid over there, first aid, and then they worked on him.
Right.
But having a racket, having a bad night too.
How bad? And where was that at?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
I said some of them. We fought in little places all the time.
Right.
But the big one, I can tell you.
Okay. And then there's some. You were called General Patton's Mystery Division.
Yeah.
What? Why were you called the Mystery Division?
Patton wanted a division that nobody knew. So he had all them other divisions that he took, but we been new over there. See, the Germans didn't know that too good. So he picked that to make the drive. So we painted all the number off the tank, everything but the thaw. And we drove all night. I don't know where we were going to. We didn't know about it. And we finally went to Putinov Point. And then we got in and we took off for the Rhine. And then when we got to Rhine, I told you I had to see that town in the morning. And when we got downtown, I was a little bit shaky doing see that town the first thing in the morning. But then we turned around when that got done. Where we went to then? We went back to the 7th. Then we started fighting in different places. And I know them all, but I don't know the name. But I can tell you some of the old name. Some of them been nerve-wracking.
I was gonna say I can imagine, but I can't imagine.
No, you can't sleep right. You have to sit just like it here. You can't lean back or you get your head cut off. The toot, when you move the toot, your head be in the way. And over here, you only got that much room on the side with all the gates in, and you.
So you weren't allowed to get out.
You can't get out of the tank only when you have to get out when they do something. But in combat, you want to take the heck in there, so you pop your head out, somebody got you zeroed in.
Yeah. So you headed into the Rhine, and that only took you 37. Well, you went then from Rhine to Austria in 37 days.
Yeah.
And you helped capture 63,000.
I forget all that numbers. I never tell you.
It's what it's written down here.
A lot of that ain't in there neither.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, this is what you've given me is an abbreviated history of everything you did. And now you got a Purple Heart.
Yeah.
And what happened, or that?
Tank got hit. Got hit. The top got hit, and I had the hat, and I'm pulling the hat down, hit me on the head, and my head hit the back. And the tank command got the 50 caliber. He'd hit that, but he got shot through his shoulder. Then the sitting driver, he got his heel down. About the only one didn't get shook up with the loader. Even in the laying down.
Right.
But the guy that shot that, I taught a stovepipe, but I think, and when he shot that, it killed him. Got him 2 toes to the tank. And I remember that one pretty good.
Oh, I'll bet you can. When was that? You remember the date?
In April.
April.
That's why I told you I wasn't on the whole route to the DP camp. I mean, But the Jews, I don't know all of it, and I only done it a part of it because I come back from the
Because you've been wounded and you
yeah,
were sent
yeah,
back to the
I'm
hospital.
back. So, but I seen some of it, but I didn't see it all like everybody else did.
Right, you saw some of the
Yeah,
concentration
I
camps.
saw the, and it wasn't, and then the guy that made that group, he did now. He told me one that it been awful. He did out his tank. Some of the tank didn't go in now, and some of them had people on doing. And he said it, the smell and all. He said it been awful.
Did you know? Did you guys know that he had those kind of concentration camps and that they were killing the Jewish people like that?
We knew that, but we didn't know the whole deal. You know, you just knew what people told you. But when you begin to seeing it,
It's probably quite a shock.
it is.
Now, in the ones that you saw, were there survivors still, or could you even
No,
tell?
I couldn't tell you what all that. I don't know.
Because you weren't allowed to get out.
I got back. Some of the tank that had people on doing, but some of you to talk, and some people behind you, they could stop. But if you on the dough, you gotta
Right.
keep moving.
You're not allowed to just pull over. And
You ain't, no, you ain't supposed to do none of that. Then.
You mentioned something, and I want to make sure I get this. There's 4 people on a tank?
5
5. Okay, so
on a medium tank.
okay, so on your tank there were 5 people. There was a driver,
Yeah,
and then your commander,
yeah,
and would you say a loader,
yeah.
and then who's the other 2?
Gunner,
Gunner.
and then a assistant driver.
What's that driver do?
He just done a 30 caliber down there. He can use.
Oh, okay.
He same thing as a bow down there. I think they taught us some name. I forget now. I forget some of these things.
Oh yeah. So there's five
Right.
guys in there.
But you can do without the gunner. I mean the assistant driver. You do without him.
Right.
If you ain't got him, you don't need him because the only thing he do is shoot that gun once in a while and drive the tank if he had to. But if they have a man short and another crew, they can go over and take your assistant driver and put him in that because we can do without him.
Okay. So you spent some time in the hospital,
Yeah.
healing up, and then did you take your Purple Heart right then?
Nope, I turned it down. And then in 46 to 47, they only had 2 battle calls on my discharge, and I wrote a letter in the Washington, D.C., and that when they found out I supposed to had the Purple Heart, so you got to pick the meeting then.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
sure, I told you I'd get the proof for everything tied to. Some of the thing I don't get tied to.
Well, you've got so much. I mean, so
Trying
much.
to remember
information.
that all in your head.
Oh no. All right. So then, you ended up in May 5th of 45 at Heidenheim, Germany,
Yeah.
and you stayed there until.
We didn't get there to begin with.
Okay.
They transferred out I went to 770-foot tank battalion.
Okay.
And then they had a reunion. Everybody that had been in the front went back to that, and then we had the reunion there.
Okay.
Then I went back to 771. Then I signed up for 3 years. 3 years, I did try and sign up for 3 years and come home for 90 days.
So you stayed 3 years then in Germany.
I tell you,
As part of the occupation.
I forget it on my discharge.
Right.
But see, when I got discharged, I had 21 days of short and I had 3 years then. Then when I signed up for 3 more years, I had all that. I had it on my record how many years I had overseas.
What was it like being part of that occupation force? How did the Germans treat you?
It wasn't bad. I mean, you got treated pretty good, but you had to watch your back. Now you had to pull patrol duty. You got a jeep, got one man, got a driver, and you'd out, take all the route and check everything.
Right.
When the war ended, the Germans wasn't supposed to do one town to the other. They couldn't. If they wanted to go to heat, they couldn't without a pad or something. You couldn't get in there. So that's what we had to make sure that people didn't travel on all the roads. If they wanted to come in town, they had to have a pad, and if they didn't have any, they had to
Had to go back.
have the back.
Did anybody fight after? I mean, once the truce was.
You had some going on, but we didn't know too much about it. You know, We heard of it, but we didn't.
You didn't have any trouble
didn't
with
have- we
people
didn't
trying to ambush you? Or
No, we didn't
just-
have none of that.
Well, that's good.
I didn't. I don't remember that.
So you liked it well enough, so you stayed in there.
Signed up 3 more years.
And then was that the whole 3 years then in Germany?
No, I came home for a 9-day furlough.
Okay.
And I landed in New York in December 45. Had a big one that they did at the big meal. Then I went to Untitled Chapter, Pennsylvania, and got my 9-day furlough. Came home.
Came home. So that was the first time you've been home since
Sent went overseas.
42.
No, I've been home before that.
Oh, okay.
Sent about 43.
Okay, but still, it's been a
Yeah.
couple of years.
Oh, I slipped up and home on 3-day path this day.
Yeah.
But no, I came home when I got the. I wasn't supposed to leave the end of town, Pennsylvania, but they made sure and piped up my furlough. And I went downtown, got on the. Is that the Sony? Yeah, I know where you heard that
No.
patent train, a fast one.
Yeah.
They got me on that, and I had to set up, but I didn't have to come very far. Man, I didn't tell what I was at all night I got home.
So you surprised them coming
Oh,
home?
they all knew I didn't run. And they turned around and sent my money to me every month. I got paid every month. They sent it.
Right.
So I had fun for 90 days.
When the 9 days was up, were you sorry that you'd re-enlisted for 3 more years?
No,
You were
I
ready to go back.
I turned around, went to New York, got on a ship, landed in, I forget where I landed over that time. But then, been in Germany. But the only thing about it, when you went someplace, they put you in a group, not by yourself. When I got there, they put me by myself. They did me my order, said, take off, you've been here before. So I went on to go on the other side of Munich to find my outfit. They changed names, they wasn't there. So I finally got one of them down in the camp, and they phoned up and found out with the 774 boy. But they changed the name to 15. I forget the name of them now. I
Right.
got it in there. And I finally got down. I coming in, walking in the barrack, not barrack, but the compound. And then when younger died, I said, we don't get on to him. They looked on, I had trouble on my right eye. They said, hell, he been here before.
They weren't got a point. They go.
They don't get on to him, they say. No, I had a lot of good time. I had a lot of good time at the war, too. I was a provost sergeant one time in the outfit, and I didn't know anything about that. You know, you got all the map and everything, and you put the men out patrol, you go out and ref German, get them put in jail and all that. And I did all that, and I got pretty good on it, to tell you the truth. I liked it.
What made you decide to get out and come home? I mean, why didn't you re-enlist, or did you want to, or?
I got married,
Oh, okay. Well, that'll do it.
and I come home with that 50 days. I had 50 days and 48 before I got discharged. So I built my house. I had it all up at the inside.
In 50 days.
Yep.
Wow.
My brother-in-law helped me. See, I didn't send him money, and he spent all my money, so I got it all back on. I built a little 24 house, but I couldn't get no money to put the roof on. I ran out of money. But at a lumber yard in North Hill, he said, I'll give you the money, the lumber, and you don't run pay me whenever you get out. So then I had the roof on, so when I've been in there for a few months, the house didn't get ruined by the water.
Right.
So I come home, I had the bare wall, cinders block, and I had 2 floors, then didn't have all that board. I moved into it.
Well, after you've been living in a tank, that probably
Uh-huh.
seemed pretty spacious.
In England, but the rougher, we wasn't supposed to be there. They didn't have anything for it.
Right.
Didn't have hardly any food. And when you went to eat, you went to the method. When you ate, when you walked out, you know, you put the garbage in the garbage can. You better hadn't have anything on your thing that the lieutenant would dig you for. You ain't supposed to throw it any away. See, we got all a new tank in England.
Okay.
I've been in London. London pretty good place.
So you've got to sightsee a little bit.
Yeah, so when we were waiting on our tank and thing, on the weekend, we did a weekend pad, and I went to London.
And the English people probably treated you pretty good.
Yeah, and a lot of women.
Well, that's part of being a young man, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where did you build that house at when you came here?
Down on Garfield Avenue in North.
Okay.
I bought a lot for $50. Then I turned around. Then I bought my cinder block. They made cinder block back then, and I knew the guy that owned the factory, so I got them from him. And I didn't put I put foot in, but in the ceiling I went and built up, and then they had, you know what a block is, about 16 by 8.
Right.
I could crawl in between them. That's how little I was. But no, I built it down, then I sold it and built another one on Fairmont Avenue.
Okay.
A
So,
big one.
so what did you do when you came home after the war?
I turned around and back to Heisey.
Okay.
But I told you, they did me the rotten job there was.
Mm-hmm.
So the union went to court. And man, he came back, he said, he does be on a better paying job now. So I'm sitting there holding that mower, I tell you, holding the mower.
Right.
I said, hey, his name is Eddie. I said, what I'm doing down there, Eddie? He said, you getting paid high wages for that.
So
Then I
they,
went.
they
Then I
made you give your job back.
Yeah,
Give you
and
a
I,
good job.
and I took the woman in job. Nobody could get ahead of me, so I got it on the head shop. But then I said I wanted to, so I went to B&O Railroad
Right.
and a machine helper, and that was a pretty good job. I worked a lot of night overtime down there.
So how long did you work at B&O?
I worked about less than 10 years, I think it was. Till I had to have 10 years to get a pension, and I didn't have my 10 years.
Oh. So then where'd you go?
I went to Roper,
Okay.
and I worked there till they went out, sold out.
Right.
Then I went to Air Force Base, and they had a dim-in application. They wasn't hauling. They had dim-in application, but they didn't have to call me no job. But 2 weeks after I made it out, I got an interview for a job.
And that's where you retired from, was the Air Force Base?
They would have hauled in, then I never retired that. Then I got a type of award out there for your work. I got a type of them. That was pretty good.
Right. And then you and I were talking before we turned the thing on that they just had that parade here for Armed Forces Day
Yeah.
at Heath, and then they had a tank there.
Yep.
And what was that like? You told me, but I'd like what was that like for you to see?
It pretty good. I seen that and I said it just like it, but I said it didn't look that big back in them days.
Yeah. It just looked a lot bigger than that.
And I talked to the guy that owned it,
Mm-hmm.
and he turned around and took my name and address, and he took a picture of me, tan the side of it, and he done sent it to me.
That's neat.
I talked to him for a while then.
Well, I'll bet. And you could talk his language, I'm sure.
Yeah. Then the mail from over and talked to me, boy, he kept coming over. We get you in the parade. We don't get you in the parade. Yeah, he did.
Well, that's neat. I'm glad of that.
Then up to VA, not the VA, where I get my pill at,
Mm-hmm.
put in for everything. We get your pension thing. He come down with his van. He said, hey, Pete, if you can't find a ride, you can ride with that in the van. You know, I had a way to.
That's good. And it's well deserved.
Them women that I do get my fingerprint from, a tumor from, they like to heal it. They never healed anything like that before. And
Right.
I always show them something. Man, they go for it.
Well, I mean, you've got a lot of stuff. I mean, you kept it, and you've accumulated a lot of things about your service. Is there anything else any other stories or anything that you want to make sure that we get down on recording?
No, not too much. Only, no. All the plate I didn't. We fought in that ain't on the
Right.
end of the thing. But we didn't have many a month. But we seen a lot.
All right. You did see a lot of
But
action.
when you make the run for Patton, that was something nobody knew about. And you got the paper. You had the paper that you may send it home.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you ever see Patton?
I seen him, but I didn't. He moved it on. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But I got a book with him in it with all my agenda.
Yeah.
They got that all in there. And I let my granddaughter have it, and I can't get the damn thing back.
Did you get to do an honor flight to go see that?
No, they want me to do, but I've been pinned up in that tank, but it kind of,
Oh.
I'm kind of, you know what my son said the other day? He said, Looks like I'm gonna have to die, be Dad.
Yeah, I mean that's something to see over there.
I got the one when they opened it down there for what? They opened one up down there a long time ago. What year it was? Got the Purple Heart.
Yeah.
I think I got it on the back the day they opened it up. I got it.
Good.
They sent that to me.
Why is it that you didn't want to take your Purple Heart when you got?
I was young and I didn't want it. I said I don't want it. They turned around and give it to me, say.
Right.
And I said I don't want that thing. Said me, I never got anything gave to me. I always worked everything I had. And pretty soon, I didn't think any more about it. But then I had my 2 battles. I had 3 of them, but I only had 2 on my discharge, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make sure I had deserving.
Right.
And I wrote to them. I never heard them. Next thing I know, I've been out in the playground getting my Purple Heart. And I got, like I say, I got the paperwork get out of there. And people say, you didn't get the Purple Heart. I got the paperwork I turned out. And,
That's right. I mean, because we made a copy of it for the file.
yeah, I did one to my daughter. And she said, Dad, I knew you had the Purple Heart. I didn't know you had that. So she put it in her lawn box. And I had an old Purple Heart, my old one.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to have it. So I didn't have all my ribbons, so I went to the VA and they turned around and did me all new ribbon. New everything. I got the whole everything new. And
Very nice.
all embarked it. But I want to write it down one of these days. And they had me all my ribbons she did, and I couldn't tell all of them. I just did Vic did that matter, did Tom that, Army occupating, but I couldn't get. Oh, she said the Purple Heart done that. I need something under that.
Well, and then you've got this diploma from the French.
Yeah, I got another one up home too, somewhere. And then we got one coming. You know that, don't you?
Pardon?
We got another one coming from France.
You do?
A Medal of Honor.
And
That the highest French award you can get.
and you're gonna get that?
We didn't. I got the paperwork in. I
Wow.
don't think I got it in. I don't think it's home in my book.
Well, that's neat.
You got to prove that you've been in France all the place fighting, and soon you get all that on. So I went up here and had it, told them all, and about that. She wrote it all down, and I sent it in. It went to, I mean, it would have went to Trump or some point. They sent it to Target. I got a letter back from the Target that they got it. Now they had to wait to the France.
Right. Well, very nice. That would be nice
It's
to
the
have.
high award you can get in France.
I mean,
that-
I've heard of it.
That's for everybody that fought.
Right.
But like I say, we didn't do all. We just did all part in what we did. But I don't know. If I've been young, I don't know whether I want to fight the way they're fighting now.
Why is that?
They just go out and come back in, go out in a minute. But when we went out, we kept on going.
Right.
I don't know. I probably would have. If I've been in that, I probably did the same thing.
But that doesn't mean you have to like it.
No, you don't like I did it. Oh, you take all the die. You had all kind of people in the war. I mean, and some of them you could trust, but some of them you couldn't trust. But most Jenny, the one, the bad one, we went AWOL. But when they went in combat, they got some of that. They make nuts out of potato and everything else. They got that. They got drunk, drunk half time, but they've been a good fighter. They didn't hide from the fight, and they still fought.
Right. And then you've kept up. I mean, you've been to a couple of reunions.
Well, I've been, more than that. I've been to the big one way back. I only went to the big one once in Tennessee, but we do every year since '73 up to about 10 years ago. I used to do every year.
Right.
We went to Canton, Ohio, Cambridge down here, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana. We went every. See, we had one guy. I want to told you had that all that chapter in it. He drove around every year and visited everybody been in the civil with him. So one year he found me. He came up to where I worked at. He said, "We want to see you at the reunion." So I finally went to Fort Wayne, Indiana. I had a good time.
Oh, I'll bet.
And I've been with an old lieutenant. He liked his drinking. And he been rough. If he been good buddy with you out of camp, when you back in camp, You wasn't his buddy anymore. He been back to being an officer. But when he out, he been just like you. But he been always been a tough old.
Yeah.
He walked on them beams in New York when they built them big buildings. He
Oh.
walked on them, built that.
Wow.
Even the foreman.
Wow.
So when we got up to Indiana, when we were doing over tonight, they putting on the one. We was sitting down in the back seat, and George been driving the one that had all that, hadn't he? He got lost finding out what we doing. I forget his name, that lieutenant. I know, I think I was there. He said, we don't tell. We just sat back and relaxed.
Right.
Soon we got back, he went right to the nightclub down there. He bought some old whiskey, so he take it back to the room.
Hey, did you tell me there's only three of you guys?
Six. He said six.
Six of
There
you?
might be more hanging around someplace,
Right.
but they don't belong to the association. But I got the six on my book. And all the grandkids and their daughter taken over now. There are only about two die in there that have been in the service. But the rest of them all daughter.
Right.
Everybody getting too old, they can't do that no more.
Yeah.
They got a tank, a tank you got here. They got that tank on the wall out in Texas. They went at night, somehow they went at night and waited to make the outline,
Yeah.
and then they went back the next day and painted. And the guy I told you had to make that group, his cousin, that's what he do for a living. And he made that for his cousin.
Oh, that's neat.
And somebody said, how come you got a tank on it? He said, I'm paying for it. Why shouldn't I?
That's right. You're paying for it. You can do it.
Yeah, I got a lot of things going on.
Well, we appreciate. Go ahead.
I got to head for your bathroom pretty soon.
Okay. Well, I want to appreciate. We'll turn this off. I appreciate your service and appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Yeah.